Good evening. Call the City of Norwich Zoning Board of Appeals for Tuesday, March 10th. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, it's 7 p.m. Roll call, Dave Martin. Present. Bob Phoenix.
Present.
Ed Apperbrock. Present. Paul Butcher.
Present.
Present via Zoom. And Mark Benjamin, Chair. Present. Also present staff, Catherine Rose and Rich Shuck. We do have a quorum. Congratulations, Ed, you're a full seated member. And tonight with 5, Paul, you will be a voting member as an alternate.
Okay.
Thank you. Communications.
No new communications other than the letter from the mayor and NCDC when they read into the record when we get into that application.
Okay. Acceptance of the November 25th, 2025 meeting minutes. Those were all in our packet that was emailed to us. Everybody familiarized themselves with them and errors, omissions, or corrections.
Might make a motion to accept the minutes of November 25th.
A second. Hearing no errors or corrections. All those in favor will accept as presented.
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Ed Apperbrock, aye. Dave Martin, aye. Mark Benjamin,
Paul Butcher, aye.
unanimous meeting minutes accepted as presented. You said you were going to read them in. Oh,
No, okay.
Aye. Old business. I mean, old business is none.
No.
New business.
New business is going to be this variance application.
I'm gonna read it from there. Sure. Application V 2601 80 Stonington Road, application for use variance. Applicant seeks a variance from the Norwich zoning regulations to permit the outdoor placement and storage of detached semi-trailers, box trailers as a principal use within the general commercial zoning district, property of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe, application of Bob's Discount Furniture LLC, assessors map 111, block 1, lot 66. Just for the record, I know we're going to read them in afterwards, but I received a letter from Mayor Singh that was addressed to myself, and from talking to Rich, I guess it also went to Deanna Rhodes for staff. And I also had a conversation or 2 phone conversations with the mayor concerning this, and I just wanted to disclose that, as well as I also had a conversation with Chairman Frank Manfredi from the Commission on the City Plan, following up on this but it was just it was a business conversation between myself and those 2 gentlemen at independent times. Nobody else was present. And I will I'll expound on it as we go through the deliberations, but I just wanted to put it out there that I have done a little research on this property going forward. Go ahead.
Okay, so actually, first thing I'd like to do is present the exhibit list for acceptance, unless you want me to read every one of these.
No.
No, make a motion to accept as listed the exhibit list in lieu of individual announcements.
A second. All those in favor will accept.
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Dave Martin, aye. Ed Apperbrock, aye. Mark Benjamin, aye.
And
Paul Butcher, aye.
to be clear, the one exhibit that I received last night or early this morning was the letter from NCDC, which will be put here at the bottom as additional exhibits entered during the hearing. Do you want me to read these letters?
Is everybody read the letters from the
Yeah.
mayor?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want me to read them into the record?
I think just
Be part of the record?
yeah, just be part of the record. Accurately reflected in the record. Do you want?
Yeah. On the subject of communications, I would also like to include that I have had a personal conversation regarding this agenda item with Mayor Singh. And again, as with Mr. Benjamin, Chairman Benjamin's conversation, it was personal and part of subject matter that was related to other issues. So it was not specific to this agenda item only. So I want to make sure that it's understood that, yes, there has been outside ex parte communication regarding this application by myself.
Got a question about that. Did the mayor call you, or was the call made by you to him?
The mayor's called me, but the mayor's called me on,
Other stuff as well?
he's
Okay.
actually in the
It's
phone.
not that unusual.
No, it's not unusual for me to get a phone call
Okay,
from the mayor.
As opposed to this me.
it is too. Yeah.
I
I did not.
this time. However, I will say this is a new mayor. There's new protocols that he would like to bring forth, and I am also the vice chairman of the Harbor Management Commission, and we did touch on harbor management business as well during that conversation.
Thank you. Okay.
And again, I talked to Rich about this, and it was just advised that we bring this up.
Okay.
It's better to be transparent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got that. So ready for an applicant?
You ready for that?
Applicant, please come forward, explain to name and address for the record,
Sure.
what you'd like to do and why you need a variance to do it.
Okay, my name is Bob Martino. I'm a principal in the law firm of Bank Kelly and Spellsing. My office. Brandon Smith from our office, Pete Sorrentino, who is the senior vice president. Bob's in charge of overseeing all facilities, and Mark Mack. Thank you tonight for your time. Just a little background. Parcel question is about 34 acres, surrounded by woodland, and it's in photo 1 of the photos going to be submitted in the application. At this time, I'd like to also give you copies of those photos and additional photos that we're going to put in record as well.
One for the record.
Yeah. Trying to move this stupid bar out of play here.
These photos are numbered, and I'll refer to them from time to time.
Okay.
Great. So the parcel is a blacktop, about 15 acres, front and rear lots. It's controlled access with security surveillance we've installed, and those photos are 2, 6, and 7. See that. You know, the property is zoned general commercial. Prior use was Spotwoods employee parking, and then after that, some event space, racing derby, etc. Just a note, we have spent a considerable amount of time and money to clean up the property after the racing derby.
Okay. So before you go too far,
Yes.
please allow me a moment. Mr. Chairman, for the record, I would like the photos to be entered as exhibit, and I can't find my exhibit
Would be
list.
18, because NCDC letter was 17.
Right,
So
okay.
it would be 18 and then probably 1 through 18, 1 through 15. Does that work?
Yes, that is my motion.
No, but it's on the record, so it's
Okay,
clear.
So motion made.
second, all those in favor of accepting exhibits 1 through, exhibit 18, 1 through 15.
Bob Phoenix, aye.
And after that kind, Dave Martin, I.
Mark Benjamin, aye.
Paul Butcher, aye.
As you made reference to, the property is owned by the National Tribal Nation, and at least the Bob Discount Furniture for the past year. The existing use is a parking facility for Bob Discount Furniture pursuant to temporary accommodation by the city of Norwich. That expires on March 31st. We've been operating for this location. The purpose of the parking is to support the Taffville warehouse. Bob's has been a good community partner to the city of Norwich for over 30 years. When we first came here 30 years ago, we serviced about 18 stores out of this location. Currently, we service about 50 stores. So it's overseen a considerable amount of expansion. As you know, the Taffville warehouse is it's an older building, and it's limited in its space by the Connecticut River. Our request is for a use variance to permit the use of the property for outdoor placement and storage of detached semi-trailers, i.e. box trailers. And you can see pictures of this in photos 9, 10, 12, and 13. Our goal is to continue to make productive use of an existing vacant parking lot while minimizing the impacts to the surrounding area. And as I mentioned before, it's to support our Taffville warehouse, which, because of its age and location relative to the Connecticut River, it's compromised from a parking standpoint, especially in the spring where there's some flooding and fall as well. I'd like to point out that there's a number of other permitted uses within the zoning district, such as other transportation logistics related uses, such as bus and taxi facilities, passenger stations, bus terminals, railroad stations, transportation centers, and distribution establishments. Our proposed use is less intensive than these other permitted use. We don't have any regular customer traffic. There's no freight handling, and there's no continuous operational activity. There's minimal noise impacts, limited vehicle movement, and we want to point out limited to daytime hours only. Before we entered this property about a year ago, we took a survey of the neighbors, Bob did that, and wanted to make sure that our use would be compatible with them. And because of that, we only use it during daylight hours. The property, as you point out, there's really grounds for this zoning variance. The existing paved parking lot represents the most suitable use without additional construction or disruption of the property. There's significant wetlands and other physical limitations to this parcel. The proposed use requires no construction or site reconfiguration. The property is currently underutilized. There's significant utility and infrastructure challenges for large-scale development of this parcel. There's no alternative development plans at this time for this parcel, and the proposed use is the most practical, beneficial utilization of the site given current conditions. There's also, as you'll see in the various photos, it's got a natural woodland and other natural buffer from the neighbors, and the parking is focused on the rear of the lot away from the road. I also want to point out that some of the surrounding uses are similar or maybe even more intense. If you look at the map that's included in the application, you'll see that the proximity to a recycling facility, commercial outdoor use, vehicle storage, scrapyard, and some used auto parts sales. We believe that this is a proper and proper necessary request because of the reasonable low impact use. And just to point out that these trailers are actively staged and they go every 7 to 10 days. So it's not like there's a trailer there. It's going to be an eyesore because it's going to be there for 5 years. These things are actively staged in and out of the property every 7 to 10 days. We've limited our hours to daytime operations only. Bob's Discount Furniture maintains the property, and if you've been out there, it's technically maintained, and there's security monitoring and gated entrance. There's no alternatives required for us. It's consistent with the intent of the zoning regulations, and I think we've demonstrated our compatibility with the neighborhood. And for the last year, there's no complaints that we know of. We've been a good neighbor to our neighbors, and we've been a good corporate citizen in the city for over 30 years. We'd like to continue to service the community and create jobs locally, as we've done for decades. And this parking facility, quite frankly, is instrumental to that goal. The facility that we're in Taffville is an old, outdated facility and has its own challenges, but we have an excellent employee base, and it functions very, very well. But unfortunately, it doesn't have the area to support our tractor trailers, and that's why we're here before you this evening. Here to answer any questions you may have of me or folks we brought from Bob's. Respectfully request approval of this use variance.
Well, Dave?
I think I have any questions.
Bob?
Our primary requirement to grant the variance is based on hardship. Could you explain how not granting this variance would be a hardship to the potential user?
Yeah, I think it would back up. It's also a hardship for the parcel itself. The parcel, because of its physical limitations, there's not a great uses of this property. We think this is a phenomenal use. The property as it exists today. We're about to enter into another 10-year arrangement with our lease in Taftville, and quite frankly, we can't do that without this property.
So this denial of this variance would jeopardize the renewal of
Absolutely.
the line.
It would jeopardize the lease at the Tactile facility.
Absolutely.
So if this doesn't happen, would Bob's consider moving out of Tactile?
We are looking at other options because it's critical for us to have the tractor trailer distribution network, and without the additional parking somewhere, it doesn't work. The Taftville warehouse on its own does not work without the supplemental parking here or somewhere else.
And then my one other question is, when this went before the Commission on the City Plan, there was one objection. Bear with me for a second while I locate that. I did have it highlighted.
The bottom one.
Okay, one of the commissioners' concern was that the trailers could deteriorate over time if left static. Did I hear you say earlier that these will actually be a dynamic use and in constant service?
Yeah, they're turned over every 7 to 10 days. There's no storage of old trailers. This is constantly being turned over.
Okay, and is there a supervisor of the condition of these trailers? In other words, when they come in or when they are about to go out, is there actually somebody, a representative of Bob's LLC that will review the condition of the trailers to make sure they're roadworthy?
Yeah, I'm going to turn that over to Pete.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Stand
Name
up.
and address, please.
Address yourself. Introduce yourself.
So good evening. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the time for us to represent this evening. Pete Sorrentino, Senior Vice President of Supply Chain. I reside in Salem, Connecticut. Excellent. To answer your question, absolutely. We have a fleet safety and maintenance and compliance department.
Who would oversee
Who would oversee that? They oversee our entire fleet nationwide, and we have an individual on premise that would oversee this fleet as well.
Okay, so that would address Commissioner, is it Bugby? Bugby? Is that the commissioner? City Plan? So that would address Commissioner Bugby's concern then.
100% of that.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
One related question. So they're all actively registered.
All actively registered.
Okay, thank you.
Could you just explain the cycle of this? How do we get here? What happens? Product comes in, goes to the warehouse, from warehouse to there, and then out. Just explain how are we going from Taftville to there to somewhere else?
So within our supply chain, we have product that comes in through our import channel or our domestic channel. So product originally, it comes into Taftville, the distribution center. It's processed in the distribution center. We either move product from our DC into storage or holding units. And those storage holding units get transferred over to the holding yard, which is the Mashantucket yard we're speaking. It sits there for an average of 7 to 10 days and gets pulled back to the distribution center. The storage trailers that we're talking, this is an extension of our distribution center. This model is used nationwide. So every one of our DCs across the country, we have our distribution center, and then we have external yards. They're extension of our buildings. The only DC that doesn't have this today is Taftville. TAFO was constructed, as we all have seen it in the outline, that parking that was originally provided was enough for that building. That building has scaled far bigger, or the business in our area has scaled far bigger than what we need today.
Okay.
So the application is exactly that. We're now modeling this building to meet the needs of our community and our customer. And it meets the exact same outline of our business and our other 6 distribution centers across the country. Some distribution centers, quite frankly, have multiple external yards. That's our model that we utilize.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry to jump out of line.
No, that's right. That's correct. I didn't think about the flow of, how they got here and then what happens after.
And could they end up just dormant, sitting there with?
No.
All right, that's not a good financial model.
We track that as well, dormant.
Yeah,
You're all set, I'll move to Ed.
I am. Thank
Ed,
you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I did a little research on the Tacville facility. It says it's like 1 million square feet roughly. And
That's about, yeah.
5 acres, I think,
That's correct.
something like that. I'm hearing that even given those conditions, there's no way you could expand that facility as an option, as an alternate.
Based on just for the record, I'm not an engineer. I'm not in construction and development, so I'll give you what I know. But based upon the age and the expense associated with expanding that building, if you've been to Taftville, and you say you have, if you look at the building, the front of that building is very short. It's a short-sided building. There's no ability to go vertical any higher. Typical distribution center are 5 high. So when you look at all our buildings are racked furniture. Taftville in the first section of the building goes actually it's 1 high in the first section. It's 2 high for the majority of that building. That building has been built. We had three expansions. We had 3 expansions in that building. The last expansion, I don't know what year it was done. We went 5 high, which is standard DC. We're also governed and landlocked by the river. There's no more geography to expand that building. When I came into this role at Bob's, I asked the same question. Can we go vertical? Our latest expansion, though we went 5 high, can we match that 5 high decking in the other buildings? Structurally, the building can't support it. And operationally, from a fiscal perspective, as a company, the amount of money we would have to invest in put into that building, you'd have to move. We would move.
Right.
We would move.
Okay, thank you. So I heard that the current lease is up end of March.
Well, I think it's sometime this year, but the temporary license, the combination that we've got from the city of Norwich expires March 31st.
Oh, okay. And I also saw in both letters that the mayor from NCDC thinking that there was some kind of a commitment for another 10 years.
Yes, that's
And
right.
so that commitment is from the Mashantucket Pequot's to Bob's, is that
So
right?
there's an underlying lease for the parking, but it's also our commitment to extend our lease 10+ years at this Taftville location.
Do we have that in writing somehow or other? I'm not that I'm not believing you, but I mean, I'm just looking for some kind of.
Yeah,
I don't believe that's in our. I don't think
No,
that's
probably not our part.
I mean, we're not getting this approved to move in 6 months.
Yeah.
This is all part of our commitment to extend.
Yeah, and then if I may add,
Yeah, please.
we're dealing with the parking lot down in, right, where is it? Compass? No, it's Laurel Hill. No. What do you mean? Well, the parking lot that we're discussing.
Oh, that's
here
Fox Hill.
And not Foxhill and not
Right.
Taftville, Taftville, so. Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
should
I mean,
concentrate on that.
the grant this, it stays with the property,
Yeah, it does.
correct? It doesn't,
Correct.
Right, correct. So,
with the property, it doesn't matter who.
Doesn't matter who
renting
just
it
stays with the
from the rent,
property.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who's renting it, it stays with the property.
Mhm.
We're looking at that.
Yeah.
If I may, I did read in, I think it was the narrative, where this property already had certain
There was the letter to,
restrictions.
the letter to the CCP.
Oh, okay,
It was
that was,
mentioned about the previous variance.
oh, I'm sorry, right, okay, yes, that, yeah, the previous variance. I guess it's the question for staff. I apologize for not being direct. In us granting the new request for variance, would that overshadow or eliminate those other restricted covenants that have been approved prior? So in other words, one of them I saw was employee parking only. Now, this is not employee parking.
So I asked that question of the land use attorney, and I did not get a specific response other than the restrictions in the other variants, whether this is specific or not. Those restrictions still apply until a new application comes in. So and I'll explain. So this is complicated because there's a variance that was granted on that property. Okay.
Yep.
At the time, it appears from the record that they got a variance to construct that transportation center. There's a variance on that property for the construction of the transportation center, and one of the conditions is employee parking only. So that's a condition of the approval to construct the very thing that you're here requesting a variance to use. So now we're in this kind of conflict of we've got restrictions on a variance approval, and we're looking to do something else. So I didn't get a definite answer as to would this variance trump that variance. And that's just the honest answer that I can give because I didn't get a straight answer.
Yeah. And was that really initially a variance or just an accommodation?
No, that was a variance from, I think, 1996, I believe, or so, somewhere back there.
I think this would be an additional variance because it expands upon that.
Right, but is it in conflict with it? That's the question.
Well, you can have multiple variances for different things at different times.
Correct. You know, and I just don't have a simple answer. Does one create a conflict with the other?
It's yours.
I was getting that stuff in this board, we're not lawyers.
Or if the board chooses to get a formal opinion on that issue.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that is that if that might be something that we want to make, include as a condition of our variance, that those variances are either maintained or ignored. Just for the sake of
I would be very cautious with that.
yeah, well,
I mean, a variance is granted by this board. So this board can grant an additional variance.
and conditions to it, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. You good yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna ask questions that are not relevant, but I'm gonna ask anyway. I mean, I read the history here, I was interested in that. You know, I think from what I understand about a year ago, you guys wanted, in Tapville, you wanted to do some rack reconfiguration inside the warehouse to accommodate all the goods that are now currently in the trailers in the parking lot. So it's been a year. Have you not finished that yet?
We have finished that. It has to do with the configuration to support the business. The business is doing very well. I think everybody knows by now an event that occurred on February 5th, right? The company's doing exceptionally well. This request is for us to continue to scale our business. So Bob, I think, communicated exceptionally well. What I will reinforce, without granting us this variance, we cannot scale our business. We cannot support Norwich any longer. We cannot support New England any longer. We cannot support Greater New York City and New Jersey anymore. This distribution center, as you pointed out, is 1 million square feet. This distribution center at any given moment can hold $53 million worth of inventory. This distribution center at any point is picking and servicing, it could, on a very busy day, to over 12,000 customers. At any given moment. Okay?
Mhm.
This is it's our largest distribution center in our network. We
So-
pick it, excuse me,
Go ahead.
we pick and ship as a company almost 10 million pieces of furniture. Almost 40% of that comes out of town. We have gone beyond our banks, figuratively and literally. This building has taken on water. We've had to move trailers and equipment to high ground. 2 years ago in July, when we had tropical systems that come through, that gentleman right there and his staff was scrambling to move units to get them out of the way of flooding waters because that river is backing up. We had to make emergency phone calls to the city of Norwich to open up the dam before we took on water. The reality is, if we don't get this, we cannot operate here any longer. I cannot stress that enough. We are scrambling to survive and continue to operate. So we beg the mercy of this board. We beg the mercy of the mayor. We beg the mercy of this community. We've been fantastic stewards of the community. We've given back. We've never said no to anything Norwich has asked us to do. We are now appealing to this board to help us. Please don't say no. Help us help you so we can stay here.
I guess that's it for now. I might come back with some other questions, but for now,
Paul,
Yes.
any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, just a quick question. Is there going to be 24-hour security there?
So great question. So what we did on this property when we partnered with the Mashantucket tribe and the Foxwoods, we secured it. So one of those pictures you'll see a gate. So this property was not secured. They had concrete blocks that allowed prevented traffic flow. We obviously need to have traffic flow in there. So we installed a gate and we secure it that way. We also put up something called a bird's eye. It is 24-hour security monitoring that's triggered by motion. So we put security there. So we don't have an armed guard or a live person there. It's the same security monitoring system we use in all of our off-site yards across the country. So it's gated, secured, and monitored remotely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a few questions. I'm looking at photo 6. I took a ride by the site on Sunday, expecting to drive in and see, and I hit your gate. So, well, I didn't hit your gate, but it was far enough away that I wasn't walking either. So, I could see the trailers from the gate, which I could see the other day. If I looked at picture 1, photo 1, are those trailers that I can see just beyond the P in front of the trees?
Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
So if we look at photo 6, where we can see the trailers beyond the solar cell, I'm just trying to get a perspective of where I see the trailers.
Yeah.
Trailers.
Yeah, that's tucked all the way back.
That's tucked all the way back, but if we look at photo 1, are those trailers between the P
Yeah.
and the tree line?
Yeah. So
Oh.
our trailers are all back in here.
Okay,
So even with so right now we're tucked away. This is where that old track was. So we're primarily back here and across this line. So we have nothing up in the front. And I believe the way we designed it, we will never come outside of this area. We will never be up front.
that was the next question. How many trailers are we talking about, and how far forward could we potentially be coming?
500 trailers, and it will always be in this section here.
From basically the back of that island?
The back. That will be drive lane.
Okay,
We will never have trailers in this front where that P is.
and how many are there now?
300.
Okay. It's Monday through Friday, 7 to 5.
It's Monday through Friday primarily. We'll just say 7 to 7, just to give us some wiggle room, basically within daylight hours. There could be some Saturday work. It's not consistent, but there could be Saturday because we do run Saturday operations occasionally. Almost no Sunday work. But it's retail, so I mean, you could have an occasional here or there, but nothing consistent.
Can you just explain kind of a follow-up to my other question on, so we're moving them in. So Monday morning at 7 a.m. We got 20 trucks coming in and 20 trailers leaving, or is there one truck that's running back and forth, or?
It's that, we just explained. So you will not get a convoy of fleet showing up on a Monday morning, pulling 25 out, bringing 25 in. On average, it's 5 to 7, maybe no more than 10 a day that's going in and out. That's the way this operation, we're now in what I call steady state operation. Okay. You get a handful that come in and a handful that go out. What we're putting there is this product that it's an overflow. So it's overflow product that, the gentleman asked a good question about the racking. It's product that can't fit in the building anymore. So we put it in storage trailers, but it's exceeded our yard capacity. So we move it over to Foxwoods. It's could sit in Foxwoods for about a week or so, and it flows back. It's just an overflow.
But it's as you said, up to 10 a day in and out.
It could be
every day.
It could be less.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be less.
And I think I know the answer, but I'm going to put it out there for you to say it before I make it a condition. As I've looked at a couple of the overviews of this, there's some bare spots. If looking at photo 1, just say at 11 o'clock, there's like a missing row of trees over there in like the pork chop area. There's some missing trees and some bare spots. You wouldn't be opposed to additional hedge screening or something? That if we made that a condition, that you would?
Certainly, not at all.
All right.
Like we said, when we showed up there, we took it upon ourselves to clean it up. They did this derby here.
Yeah.
Whoever did the derby left tires everywhere. We took it upon ourselves on our own. We didn't say anything. We cleaned it up. We disposed of the tires. Snow removal. We all know how this winter was.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think did all the snow removal?
The guy that wanted to get his trailers out.
Yeah. We dispatched our snow removal equipment. We maintain snow removal in Tackleville. We have road legal fleet. We dispatched and we took all the snow. We would maintain it.
And you wouldn't have a problem with it being conditional that we didn't go forward of that island for trailers. So
no,
basically from the road, that nothing would be visible.
No, we would make that, no problem with that.
Your 500 trailers would fit just in this area here.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
All right. I'm good if you guys want to go around again. Dave, any follow-ups to mine?
No, I'm good.
Bob, Ed,
I'm
you said
curious.
you're going to have more. So
I'm curious if any of the people in the adjacent people, the abutters, if we
Sure,
got
we might
any
hear from.
feedback from those people, because there's obviously noise involved, and it sounds like you guys, kind of covered yourselves by talking to the neighbors initially. I heard that, so that was. It's been a year now. I'd like to hear from some of those people to hear what they have to say about how you really are as a neighbor over there. I think that's a reasonable thing to do.
We haven't heard any complaints.
But I'd like to hear.
Well, here.
Not yet. Not yet. No. We can't do that yet.
Okay.
We will.
Other than that, I guess I'm still okay for now.
Paul, anything else?
I have no further questions.
All right. Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
Thank you. Appreciate your consideration.
So we're going to ask for additional testimony in favor or against, and then we'll give you an opportunity to answer any questions that come up.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this appeal? Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone to speak in opposition? That would be the time if you had.
I don't have any opposition, I just have a question.
Come on up and give your name and address for the record, and we can't have a dialogue between you and the applicant. It's gotta go through the board.
Okay.
Name and address for the record, please.
Ben, 110 Palmer Street.
Okay.
Just questions of how well they're gonna keep maintained. There's a lot of animals around, you know, they're gonna keep all the garbage and I can see the trailers from my house. Doesn't bother me. You can't like see the specific trail, you can just kind of see reflections and stuff. Noise, I will say, they're quiet.
Really?
I've been there for 9 years.
Okay.
2-3 trucks a day is all I ever hear.
Okay.
I mean, I work during the day. My wife's home. She doesn't hear them. My kids don't hear them. I mean, I've noticed that they're there, but they're quiet. They're not. I got nothing opposed to them being there. I just want to make sure, you know, living there. I want to stay living there. I love it. It's a nice area. It's quiet. You know, just want to make sure everything's going to stay the same. Basically, they're not building anything, doing anything like that. That's all. You know, that's all my questions were really.
All right.
Okay, good.
I
Okay,
got
no,
nothing
no
really.
activities at night time.
It's last
Oh,
time.
No noise, no.
Okay. Ben, can we get
Sorry.
your last name, please?
Flight, sorry. No, I don't notice any lights, nothing like that.
Thank you.
Anyone else make an opposition? Yeah.
No, not opposition.
Oh, come on up.
So my name is Jackie Law, and I recently purchased the house at 6 Doreen Drive.
Mhm.
So it's
Directly opposite. You see the headlights.
sort of. So my son was with me earlier, but he's been texting me to try and find out what's going on. Very similar concerns about it changing. We're actually both very relieved that we thought maybe they were going to build something there, and we are concerned about the wildlife. And because we're just on the side of the ravine, we do see them. We don't see them often. When we first noticed them moving around, it was, I wouldn't say middle of the night, but it was dark. So it made us nervous. It's put me more at ease to hear what they've said about their own surveillance. And like my son said, I guess we won't walk up there anymore. Because now we're more at ease, actually, hearing what they're already doing there. We didn't hear from anyone last year. They did mention that they were. But,
Unless you're in a budding neighbor,
Right.
oh, yeah, yeah.
physically touching the property.
Yes, well, we're on the other side of the ravine. Okay, so, but we didn't know anything about it until we saw these tractor trailers, the trucks going up there and going back, and we're curious. So that's what we made sure we showed. Like, we're just curious, and we got all the questions answered. So we're not opposed in it by any means, just wanted to say that we live there and we love the animals and we love the trees. It won't be any louder than it already has been from what I have understood. Just like it is.
Thank you. All right. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah.
No.
That's okay.
Chuck Mandel, actually, the address is 0 Palmer Street on the property exactly to the north. If you look at it on the GIS, or if you put an X on that, you can see, I'll show you the property. I'm at a disadvantage because those photos were just handed in tonight. I never saw them, so I don't know where you're proposing the trailers. I have no idea what's going on. I did look at the 2 site plans that were submitted. The site plans are over 26 years old. One says it's an as-built, but there's no signature. It doesn't even say it's an A2 survey, so I don't know what it's an as-built of. The original survey that they did in '94, whenever it was done by CLA, that's also, yeah, there's no certification. Here, it's not signed. It's an old survey. I guess it's okay, I suppose. That said, on the application, it says proof of a true hardship is a legal requirement for zoning board of appeals to issue a variance. So I heard a lot about monetary. I mean, and I get it. These guys, I mean, it's valuable for Norwich. I understand. I'm not against Bob's Furniture expanding, doing whatever they want to do. They're a great partner. The mayor did a letter all about financial elements. What was that other letter that came in?
NCDC.
Yeah, that was all about financial. Bob, the representative from Bob's talked about the financial hardship, which isn't a hardship, financial of the Tapville site. It has nothing to do with the Foxwood site. It has to run with the land, as it was mentioned earlier. So let's see. So, in the regs, they mentioned the allowed uses. So 2.4.2.2, it has almost 32 uses of that land. I can't believe that there's no other use for that property. In all these 32, I don't even know if they explored it. I have no evidence that anyone ever marketed it. It was just sitting there. I have no idea why, but there are 32 other uses that can be on that property without granting any variances. I don't understand that element of it, how they said there's no other use for it. The commission and the city plan, someone mentioned that it was the referral that was done, and that was from let's see, here's the regular minutes. Here. So there was a referral to the commission of the city plan, and there was mention of the trailers would deteriorate over time and become an eyesore. That may or may not be an issue. I don't know that. But they did give an unfavorable recommendation. I mean, it wasn't favorable for this. And it wasn't just specifically deteriorating. It was a unanimous decision that it was an unfavorable use of this property. And that was from the commission of the city plan. I get it. You guys make the ultimate, you guys are the ones who can. Anyway, so, and in your own regulations under 7.10.1, it needs an exceptional difficulty or unusual hardship. The applicant really hasn't demonstrated that. The hardship, they keep talking about capital and money. It has nothing to do with the land. So I said, I know it's a big deal for Norwich. You don't want to lose a business, but if you just follow your own regulations, and in your regulations, you also cite General Statutes 8-6 on the Connecticut General Statutes. And it says, I'll just paraphrase it, a literal enforcement of such bylaws, ordinances, or regulations would result in exceptional difficulty or unusual hardship. Like I said, they haven't demonstrated that at all. Let's see. So I'll try to keep it brief. So here's the zoning map of Norwich. The property that I own is multifamily. So it's actually, see this cutout piece here? I surround that. I'm on both sides of that piece in there. Like I said, I didn't see what they were proposing, so I don't know where those trailers are. I don't know if
Right there.
Oh, they're right there, right.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going forward with a multi-family housing development, and we have units proposed right in there. And so they're going to be looking right at those trailers. One of the conditions was landscaping, and there's very little landscaping up there. I noticed even if that was a condition of approval, it was never followed through. No one ever, zoning enforcement, I don't know, I don't think it was you at the time, whoever it was. There's no plantings up there. That's just, so these houses, these townhouses, whatever we're proposing, is going to be looking right at these trailers. I mean, granted, they move, yes, every once in a while, but it's zone, you're surrounded by multifamily. And that's not allowed in the zone. Trailers. So, like I said, here's the map. So it was from 4/8/99, not signed. It's not. It says it's an as-built. I don't know what it was. There's no certifications on it. Another zoning map. It's interesting. There's a zone in there. Well, you're outside CAM, but there was an odd type of zone. It was, if you go to the zoning map, it's hatched. It was like the natural environmental thing. It's like this bubble. It follows the Shutucket River.
Yep.
And then it comes up and takes a big bite out of this parcel that we're talking about.
Was it a blue outline on the map?
Maybe.
Yeah, so that's the CAM.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
the
CAM. No, I saw CAM. It's not. It's outside CAM.
Yeah.
It was another. It doesn't matter. It's immaterial.
So just for the record, and you may not be aware, so effective February 15th, there's new zoning regulations. It really doesn't affect your comments of the multiple uses. It's probably some uses that have fallen out and some uses that have been added into the zone. But I just want you to be
Oh,
aware.
okay, that's fine. I downloaded it tonight, actually. Off the website, yeah, so there are 32 uses.
Yeah, 'cause what you were showing looked like the old regulations that I know.
Nope,
taking
I
it down.
downloaded them tonight, actually. I was running around like
I will have to look to see. Unfortunately, sometimes when in my own town I live in, I just went through the same thing. We
Mhm.
updated new regulations and there's the legacy ones are out there on other
No,
websites.
no, I just printed them. There were
Yeah.
32 additional uses on there. So let's see, so this site's 33 acres. I think you could actually, although he said 15 acres of it was paved, is that correct? Or is that correct? He said 15 acres?
Yeah,
Yeah,
15
15.
months.
Okay, and so he's put him, so now he wants 500 trailers. So if a trailer is 53 feet long by 8.5 feet wide, I guess, that's like 450 square feet. So the 500 trailers is gonna be about 5 acres of trailers sitting on that property, based on total area. I was never, no one ever spoke to me. I never got a letter. The first I heard from it was when I received my adjoint notification. I never heard anything about that. My concern is there's no, I didn't see the photos. There's no map of where those are going. If that's an exhibit of where the trailers are going, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You can have that, actually.
It was because it was never uploaded to the
Yeah,
site,
yeah.
so the public never really had a
So,
chance to look at that.
correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So this is the road, right? This is no trailers in here. This is the driveway up to this whole area, and this area is where the 500 trailers.
No trailers in, just in our.
No trailers here.
Here, no trailers here.
That's new.
Well, you can't get, there's not a turning radius there.
Okay.
So the trailers are in this area here.
And you are here and here.
Yeah, I surround this.
So there's no trailers here,
Okay, got it.
all that area. And by the way, all the photos were made part of the application. So if you had a copy of the application,
Well,
they're in there.
I had that on the web, what was posted on the website.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't,
There was some limited photos. but
Okay.
but those were not posted.
Okay, no, these just.
The new one, these new ones.
So I'm not, like I said, I'm not against it. There's not enough buffer protection there. I don't know how you guys can approve this because there's no hardship really. But that's between you guys. I mean, I know you're in a very difficult spot because I know there's a lot of pressure to approve this thing. You know, God forbid you lose the Taffield site and Bob leaves Norwich. You know, you guys are going to be not very well received around here. But that's not really what you're here for. You're here for the hardship of the land, and I don't see the hardship. I'd feel better if they could move that line further south. There's plenty of paved area, and I would have better protection from my site. You know, it's all about me, of course, right? That's all the neighbors, not my backyard. Not, you know, if I lived somewhere else, I wouldn't even care about this, right? But then again, I do own that adjacent parcel. There will be homes there or houses there at some point. The site plans are not adequate. I don't see what's going on. There's no protection. I don't see anything about landscaping. So that's kind of it. I just really don't have any other questions about that. Except I just wish you guys just follow your regulations and the general statutes. That's all. And if you do make it a condition of approval, I'd like to see this line. If you have to approve it, you know, you guys are gonna get run out with pitchforks and tar or whatever. If you can move that line down and put a nice landscape buffer between the northern parcel, because this is all a wetlands buffer, so you have a nice wetlands in here also, which protects these houses over here. But I have no protection at all from the trailers. And also one last thing, there was a letter from Richard that you were totally against this for the commission of the city plan. That was that you said this can't be approved according to your letter. So I don't know if the zoning board of appeals had seen your letter.
Yeah,
Right.
they saw the letter.
Okay,
And
I thought
my job is to present.
no,
the-
very well written. And like I said, you guys are in a really tough spot. But if you have to approve this thing, I don't know how you can, but if you do, I would like to see this line moved maybe 100 feet down. And screened. That's my only objection.
Is there, the documents that you read, would you like them entered into the record or as exhibits?
Yeah, Chuck Mandel. So most of them are in the record already. I've labeled these exhibits, but you know,
If you want to put them in, we'll get them copied, put them in that and get it back to you if you'd like.
yeah, no, you can have, I mean, the general statutes, you want that as an
Just
exhibit?
because you have,
What's that?
you cited the statute.
Okay.
Yeah, I cited the regulations, I cited the statutes, there's really nothing new here, you know, you have the zoning map, you have all the information,
Okay.
so.
Let me just take a copy of the zoning map, so, because it was what you had.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
If there's a
I could give this as an exhibit, that's fine. Yep.
That way, if there's a question, at least it's.
Right, but you have my testimony and everything there, so. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else to speak in opposition? Any opposition? Any opposition? Hearing none, we'll give the applicant a couple moments to answer any questions that came from the floor or any additional testimony.
Yeah, appreciate everyone's time, the people that have come out to speak, either neutral, favor, or against. Just wanted to go over a few things. One is, there is someone to call if there's any kind of problem with any kind of garbage or anything like that. And we take great pride in maintaining our properties to the nth degree. So that's not a problem. Just want to clarify, Mr. Mandel, was it, sir? Just before I get to some of the substance you just said, I just want to make sure that everyone's clear. So the corner up there, there's no trailer parked. There's no trailers that are parked up that area. So where your property goes around there, just so you know, there'll be nothing there. There's no radius to get there. As far as the northern border, I mean, that's all trees right now. So obviously, if you develop it, your area, they'll be cutting down trees, but there's a whole tree line along that area. I don't know what you could ever plant that would ever grow quick enough to be any better than what you have there. But just so you know that your property surrounds that piece, and you can put that in the record that it would not be trailers parked there because there's not the truck radii to get around that.
Can we see, how much is the buffer between the property line and the edge of the parking lot? Roughly in that map, do you know?
I don't know which.
In pictures, it's all wooded.
Yeah, but how much buffer line do we have?
In here?
Well, no, in the backside, right there. Roughly tell,
Richard, if you go to the Norwich GIS, you might be able to see it and zoom in.
is that 20 feet or 10 feet or, I just can't, I have no feel for
Yeah, I gotta
that.
get this.
You can pull the photos up that were submitted with the application, which is rec. Maybe you can go and see there. It's significant because it's wooded that goes all the way back.
Doesn't really do much justice, but if you look at.
Okay.
Will be, yeah, 20 feet.
20, at least 20 feet.
Oh,
maybe
20
more.
feet, yeah.
All right,
You want
thank
me
you.
to pull it up in the GIS?
No, I'm just basically looking at it as a
Yeah,
20 foot
those
roadway. And the roadway to the property line is about the same distance.
Yeah, this is the challenge I'm having with this. This is the challenge I'm having with this system and this ridiculous system.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's 20 feet. I am with 20 feet.
So the edge of pavement, so from the edge of pavement.
You can, if you look at part of the application, the GIS map shows the.
Right, yeah, yeah. All right, and this is the area you were talking about before filling in some more,
Yes,
right?
So this is,
that's what I looked at. I could see
this
it
is
there.
what they were looking at.
And I didn't even know there was a development proposed there at the time.
Right, you said that.
That's a good picture of it. It's all wooded now.
Right.
And then again, that piece that butts out, there's no tractor. You can put that in the record. There's no tractor trailers that are parked there.
This is the area that was talked about before in terms of just, calling it a bare spot, filling it in.
Sure.
Other vegetation, and you guys have already said, oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
up to
not-
that. I mean, that's a minor thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's gonna take care of it.
Well, I don't know what you're pointing at.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know what the distance is.
That fair spot
Sure.
there.
Rich, I want to know. Rich, I'm sorry, Ed, I'm sorry. We can't have conversations going.
Sorry.
Right, I know, yes. Yeah, but.
Look at the map.
Yeah.
Well, photos too, it's a significant buffer to that side. Then obviously, if your property surrounds that cutout, if you will, there's nothing, that's a buffer too, there's nothing gonna be in there. But and then, I think lastly, just a,
I
you know,
can't talk anymore. Oh, so I shouldn't talk. But he gets a chance to talk.
and then, lastly, I'd like to leave you with, the grounds for our appeal is set forth in our application, and there's significant hardship with the parcel itself. Parcel has considerable amount of wetlands, and I don't know what it could be redeveloped into, and very limited, and so you need to have significant utilities brought in. I don't see that this property being utilized for anything in the near future because of the wetlands, because of the physical challenges of that parcel. That in itself is legal hardship.
Yes, you do.
Paul, is that you?
Yes.
Did you have something?
Oh, no,
Okay.
I sneezed.
So if I could actually do one thing for me, you can scroll down, you'll see the wetlands that I'm referencing there. It goes right through the middle of the property. There's not a lot that you're gonna be able to develop with the wetlands through the property like that. This property has very little utility going forward. Characterizations of the properties, it's hardship enough to make. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
One for Rich.
Okay.
Couple for Rich, maybe. So we've just gone to the new regulations.
Yep.
And so as in this zone, what is allowed as far as like parking? I assume this is a parking lot. Is that a parking lot allowed in this zone for cars? So is that because of the previous variances that was allowed?
So a transportation center.
Okay.
Is permitted use in the zone. And that was what this was approved as with variance.
For the employees of.
For the employees of the, yes. So it is a permit, but there's a fundamental, it's an operational use. So a parking lot's not a parking lot. It's approved as a transportation center, but it's a specific use. That's passenger cars coming in and out for a specific purpose and reason.
So to a transportation center, by definition, is for passenger cars? Is that
This is what this was approved for, and that's what a transportation center is.
okay?
It's not a trucking terminal. It's not a storage yard,
Okay.
which
Okay.
are not permitted uses in the zone. But this variance would grant that type of use. I mean, when you're looking at zoning, you have to look at the uses, and you have to look at what customarily those uses are. Because you can't create a definition in your zoning regulations for every single use or nuance that gets spun out of use. When people say, well, but I'm doing this. Well, what is the actual use? The actual use is more in line with a trucking terminal or a storage yard, which are not permitted uses.
I just,
Yeah,
for
I just
me,
wanted
I
to be
think
clear
of a
on that.
transportation center and a trucking terminal almost synonymous, but you're saying that's not.
Right, and
Okay.
and I have to be, honest with the board.
No,
When you look at it and you say, there's a parking lot there. Why can't it be used? Anybody is gonna look at it and say, there's a parking lot there, why can't it be used? It's not about the parking lot existing, it's about what the use is, which is not a permitted use in the zone, thus, we're here.
Follow up Dave's question. What zone? I believe it would be industrial, right? Where you would have to be in an industrial zone for this use.
Correct. Yeah, one of the business parks, one of the other commercial zones.
Bob?
I like it, bud.
Ed?
You can't really change the zone, right? I mean, you can't do that.
That's for the town council.
It's above our pay grade.
We just did that effective February 15th.
Paul?
I'm good.
Anything else you'd like to add? Once we close this, we can't take any additional testimony.
I was just wondering about the property owner's concern. I mean, if he were to build, what would be the setback off of the property line?
Would be a rich question.
So this,
The adjacent property.
Yeah. The one call.
so the setbacks would be the applicable setbacks for whatever is in the general commercial zone. You know, and that's, you know.
No, I think Paul was alluding to, Mr. Mandel's, property. If he was to build multi-family.
Paul, which one were you?
Oh, Mr. Mandel's property. If he were to build there, what would be the setback off of the existing property? I mean, there's nothing there now, and there's nothing but woodlands. I'm just wondering, he's concerned about, a landscape and, a buffer. I mean, what would be, how much woodline would remain?
So on Mr. Mandel's property?
Correct.
Yes.
Multi-family.
Well, no, that would be his side.
Right, but that would be, yeah, and
We're
then,
talking this.
That's what Paul asked.
yeah,
No,
Yeah, how much further away would his property have to be from the property line of this?
oh, I got it, okay.
So he's seeing what the whole distance spread would be.
Got it.
yeah, bear with me, let me get through January for instance. Find
So
the
we
district
got
tables.
This buffer zone, let's say 20 feet
Right.
plus, and then another buffer zone.
Required.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we impose a condition for additional buffer of some type?
Oh, absolutely.
But it's raised the trailer.
Yeah, that gets,
But we were only limited to 6 feet.
that's ridiculously high.
I think the tractor trailer is, 14 feet high. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Can't go any higher than that?
So, well, 6 feet, so the 6 foot height limitation on a wall or a fence is when it's in the setback. So if it's outside the setback, where a building would be. If somebody wants to, engineer a fence that's 20 feet tall, theoretically.
Then it's a
they could.
building permit, 4 or 6 weeks.
Correct.
Non-ADC. That in itself could look
Worse than what you have.
Yeah.
You would just step on straight.
I'm trying to answer Paul's question.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Okay. Keep it on.
These are registrations now. Okay, so the setbacks for multifamily development in the multifamily zone is 20-foot front yard, 10-foot side yard, and 20-foot rear yard. So even it's kind of irrelevant what the abutter setbacks would be, because he's going to have landscaping standards too. It's somewhat irrelevant to this property. If he chooses to put a 50-foot buffer there because it works for him, he could do that, but the minimum is the 10-foot side.
On the side. then
Or if he
20
chooses
20.
to cut all the trees down and plant grass, he could do that.
Yeah, part of his plan would be whatever landscaping requirements are in regulation. It doesn't say, and there is more extensive landscape requirements in the new
But
regulations.
to your point, Paul, the answer would be a 10-foot minimum for Mr. Mandel to build, and then the approximate 20 feet that we see there. So it would be a minimum of 30 feet from the roadway to Mr. Mandel's proposed property. unless he were to apply for a variance as well.
Actually,
This actually looks like it may be 20
Good
feet
build.
if this is his back.
Yeah.
It may be
That's what
20
maybe
feet if
20
it's his
feet,
back.
yeah.
So it's kind of a hypothetical question because we don't have enough information to answer it.
Is that
Okay.
it for you, Paul?
Thank you.
Anything else for the applicant? Hearing none? Yep, please.
So what I want to do, I was advised to read up a statement of instructions. So I encourage the board during deliberations to clearly articulate on the record the reasons for supporting whatever determination is reached. Clear findings help ensure that the record accurately reflects the board's reasoning and provides important clarity should the decision later be appealed. For purposes of maintaining a clear record, motions are typically framed as motions to approve the application with the stated findings. If such motions do not receive sufficient votes, the motion fails and the application is effectively denied. This approach helps avoid procedural ambiguity that can sometimes arise from motions framed in the negative. The board's determination should ultimately be grounded in the evidence contained in the record developed during the public hearing. The members should endeavor to tie their reasoning to the testimony, documents, and facts presented. That's from me.
thank you. Appreciate that. Motion to close the public hearing.
You guys, one last chance. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'd just like to again, refer you back to our application and our recommendation for why this use variance, is necessary hardship and request in respect.
Can I comment from the peanut gallery?
Oh, this is Tim.
Who is Tim?
Tim has been online.
Tim, I live on Palmer Street. I've been here 20 years.
I'm sorry, Tim, we did recognize you when we were taking testimony.
Tim, name and
Tim, your
address?
name and address, please?
92 Palmer.
Your name?
Tim
Your last name, sir.
Rigney. RIGN.
Okay. And your points, please address the board.
I'm just wondering, can you tell me how many trailers are there now approximately?
We were told 300 in the record.
Okay. And their variance is seeking up to 500?
That, the variance isn't specific, but they estimated around 500.
Okay. I've seen back there, it seems about full at 300 or whatever it is now, but there's a little more room. And yeah, they've actually been a great neighbor. 20 years ago, I moved here. There were diesel buses idling there constantly when it was Foxwoods parking lot. And ever since that has been closed, I've been quite content. A few tractor trailers a day, moving trailers around, I don't mind. So as a neighbor, I don't mind them at all. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there anything you'd like to add? Because after, okay.
I hope they don't mind. I walk around.
Motion is on the table to close the public hearing. Need a second?
I need a second. I'll second that. All those in favor to close?
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Jim Martin, aye. Mark Benjamin.
Paul Butcher, aye.
Closed motions. Public hearing is closed. We can take no additional testimony, nothing else from the crowd. So we'll go into deliberations.
Do you want to read that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Application V 2601 for 80 Stonington Road, application use variance. Applicant seeks a variance from the Norwich zoning regulations to permit the outdoor placement and storage of detached semi-trailers, box trailers as principal use within the general commercial zoning district. Property of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe, application of Bob's Discount Furniture LLC, assessors map 111, block 1, lot 66.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Like to go, so we have a motion made and seconded. Like to go into deliberations, you know, discussion, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I made the motion to approve this application based on the hardship that denial of the application would create an operational insecurity and put the operation of the Bob's LLC company in jeopardy here in the city of Norwich. While it sounds like an economic hardship, I don't believe it is. I believe it is an operational hardship.
What you'd like to add?
Uh,
I think this motion's gonna get,
beat up.
beat up a little bit. I think it's gonna get finessed a little bit.
Finesse, I can understand and appreciate. Not sure what you'd like me to add.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to add? We'll just go around the room.
I'd like to start with that and then make a reserve revision for later.
Ed?
I think it would be appropriate to include some kind of verbiage about putting in some kind of additional blocking for, you know, trees or fences or something. Screening, thank you, to be included as part of the approval to go ahead.
Paul, your thoughts?
I'm in favor of the application, you know, with the same caveat about some landscaping, you know, as opposed to a fence on that northern pork chop there. I mean, arborvitaes will grow fast, you know, and we won't have to worry about a 6-foot, you know, limitation on a fence. And, you know, the property in its current state is it's been underused for, you know, for years. And, you know, as evidenced by one of the letters in the, you know, in the packet, that the current owners have absolutely no intentions of, you know, improving the property due to cost for, you know, utilities and construction costs. And of course, you know, dealing with all the wetlands. But I think it's a good use of the property, and, you know, and I think it does address a hardship for Bob's.
All set, Paul?
Yes.
Dave?
In my mind, the hardship is the shape of the property, the fact that it's basically a flag lot, with wetlands in the middle of it, basically, or at least maybe not quite the middle, but in the forward third of it. To me, that limits the use of this property. And therefore, if we don't grant this application, that in itself is a hardship. The use is somewhat consistent with, I guess, the existing variance that was granted as a transportation center, with the caveat that it's actually a lot less traffic than having this as a parking lot for cars. And then the buses that would go with that. So I think that from the neighboring standpoint, it's less intensive. As far as others in the board asked to put some type of arborvitaes or something, the reality is with the trees on the edge, they're just not going to grow. And with the fact that these are I'm not against it, but they're just not going to grow. And the fact that these tractor trailers are 6-foot fence, so it's very limited to that. That's my viewpoint.
My opinions are similar to Dave's. I've been around through all of the development and all of the iterations of this property. The buses, when they were in there, the car traffic, when it was a commuter lot for cars, they were running 3 shifts. You had cars in and out 24/7, and you were moving cars in and out of here. For a short period of time, they were storing buses in there. I actually fought a bus fire up there. And then it went to a problem spot where guys with quads and motorcycles were up there raising Cain and disrupting the neighborhood. Brought us to the racetrack, which was a loud and hectic couple weekends, over a couple of years. It caused a lot of problems through the city and traffic. And again, you've got this huge parcel that's ripe for causing trouble. You're out of nowhere. You're out of nowhere.
An attractive
And
nuisance.
yeah, it's attractive. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
My concerns were addressed with the hours. I don't want to see tractor trailers coming in and out all night long, all day long. That to me would be a concern if I lived on Palmer Street. The applicant is correct. It backs up to Boyd's. There's another junkyard over the Preston line that's practically adjacent to this. This dumps out onto Route 2. It's a state highway. Yeah,
Is that what this is? This is junkyard?
that's a junkyard. That's Boyd's over off.
Oh, that's
Road.
Boyd's, okay.
And that's how far it extends.
Yeah.
And then as you go up to the Preston line, there's another one that it wraps around to it. This is Route 2. That it dumps out on. It's not dumping out onto a private road.
Right.
And we're running tractor trailers, up Canterbury Turnpike or something.
Right.
So I see, to me, this is an improvement. And if Dave hadn't asked the question of Rich, a transportation center, to me, it's a parking lot. And if you didn't get that, if you didn't have that explained, I could easily say that this is a parking lot. I park cars, I park buses, I park race cars, I park trailers. Transportation center, to me, it's a loose interpretation of it, but I could easily see that this is a reasonable use for this property. There is a wetlands that splits it. I would be in favor of this, but I do want to see us impose some restrictions, where the applicant offered the dividing line across that island. I would want to see a dividing line saying we don't put trailers there. I wouldn't want to see trailers put back here. And even if they don't grow, whether we do this spot over here, and this bare spot over here, an attempt to shield and shade somehow. I think the applicants, right now, if we told them they had to put up a 10-foot fence, I think we could get a 10-foot fence out of it. I wouldn't be in favor of it, but
I think even if they don't grow, it's something.
Right.
I think it's.
Right. But I did go up and I looked at the site. They're not offensive. It's dumping out onto the highway. The 3 neighbors that spoke are saying it's a moderate noise level. It's not offensive. I can respect the Commission on the City's Plan's concern, but understanding the way the operation works now, I was legitimately concerned that this was going to be a storage facility where we were going to buy a container of furniture and store it there until the next big president sale or something, but it doesn't sound like that's the operation model. So I think with restrictions,
Restrictions or conditions?
with conditions that this board can work out, I do think it would be a benefit and it would allow the property owner reasonable use. And although there are, I talked with Rich this afternoon, as Mr. Mandel pointed out, there's many uses for this property. But for the past 10 years, nobody's nobody's done anything better. And one of the ideas that Rich and I talked about was multifamily. And I historically have come out on this board. I'm not a huge fan of multifamily. And to take 15 or 30 acres and turn that into multifamily up there would not be the benefit to Norwich that this proposal would be. Without taking money into consideration, I see that as much more detrimental.
I'd also like to bring us back around to regard and respect for the applicant. This is not the applicant's land. So to discuss alternate uses for the land that would be better or more appropriate, I don't think should be considered when we consider this application, because again, this applicant is not the owner of the land and really does not have the say so on what is to be done with it in the future. This is an application for permission for them to use this piece of property as it is, and as it is presented. So, as you said, it's a parking lot. It's not going to be a long-term storage facility. It's going to be an active, dynamic, changing configuration throughout the weeks, months, and years that it's in use. So we don't need to look at it as anything other than an active parking lot. And again, I think if we're concerned with that terminology based on the title of the property, which is transportation center, then I would say it would actually be more appropriate that our zoning officer and the zoning management city better define what transportation center involves, because we do have a transportation center adjacent to the harbor is
No
parking lot.
Good point. They don't
No
park
park trailers.
They're not parking
No, they don't park trailers.
trailers.
Well, actually, I beg your pardon, because during the proposed fishing tournament that we were putting together, the proposal was to park boat trailers. Right. Trailers, parts is parts. So if need be, I'd like to amend my my approval to include conditions, or if you would like to add the conditions, I will add them in my motion to approve. One glaring one, if I may, sorry, is that as part of the approval, I would actually like to see the previous approval of additional screening be provided along the northeast and west property boundaries to be included as a condition of this approval, because apparently that was not done.
Can I read a definition into the record here?
Sure.
Okay. This is the definition of a truck terminal.
Okay.
And I somewhat take offense that we're pushed against for not doing our job.
I'm not doing that.
You know,
Please don't get upset, because I'm not saying that you're not doing your
Right,
job.
but
I'm saying
my
that the
job-
definition that was provided to us is inadequate.
That
That's
was
not
a
your
verbal,
job.
that was a verbal, but the definition of a trucking terminal,
Okay.
which falls right in line with what I was explaining earlier. A trucking terminal is a facility for the purpose of transporting and or storing goods and the dispatching of trucks and tractor trailers for transporting of said goods. Okay, so it's exactly what I told you.
No, and I agree.
So,
Yeah.
so the fact that we don't have there's confusion about what a transportation center is. There's no confusion
Well, because
about.
that's the approval we had.
Mhm.
Which this was approved as a transportation center.
It was approved as a transportation center. The use is a trucking terminal. This was what I explained.
I missed it. I apologize. But
And if what I said,
Yeah.
what I was saying was, had you not clarified by the definition, I would have understood it to be the other way. I wasn't questioning
Right.
you, I was questioning, I understand, I believe that to be a reasonable.
Right,
place,
but
your answer.
and I don't mean to disrespect the board, but I sit here at meeting after meeting, and it's always the planner's fault. It's always this person's fault. It's that person's fault. My job as a zoning officer is to uphold the zoning regulations
Correct.
as they're written,
Not to make them.
including the district standards,
Sure, and
including the permitted uses.
I did misspoke, because it's not your job to make them. It is above your pay grade to do that.
Actually,
Your
my
job
job,
is to enforce.
my job description actually says that I am supposed to be drafting the regulations. I can be honest, I had very minimal input in these last set of regulations, but it is part of my job.
Yeah, because as a former code enforcement officer.
Right.
It was not my job to create the ordinance, it was my job to enforce the ordinance. So I understand and appreciate your position, and please do not take offense by any misuse of appropriate language that I made. But again, I did make a motion, it has been seconded.
Yeah.
I will entertain conditions. With one of those conditions being the enforcement of the previous condition that was put on the previous variance. That's great.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If you're considering some sort of screening, or you're considering a demarcation line where trucks can be parked.
Yep.
Let me print the map
Okay.
so that we can actually draw it, so that the board can actually draw it out, so that there's something that's not ambiguous based on a verbal description.
Right.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, so I was just going to,
I'm gonna print the map.
something,
I'm
Just
I'm
fine.
actually gonna print this survey, and you guys can
Okay.
draw right on it.
okay.
Do we have that? Do we have that authority? Do we have that authority to actually?
Sure.
create
Oh,
it?
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Just so everybody understands, that's what I was thinking.
Now, question?
We can't take
Sorry,
any
Kevin.
additional questions, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the public hearing's been closed. We are now internally discussing.
Yeah, just asking for clarification on the additional fencing.
No,
Is that-
sorry, cannot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then go ahead and fence the whole thing in, and all the animals that get stuck in there can stay there.
Why don't we? To help this not be ambiguous, to somehow make sure when we're drawing this line, you're going to some type of feature that we can somewhat see.
It just, they offered it.
Right.
And it would certainly,
Yeah, I mean, in practical sense, then never gonna be able to park
Right.
to get back one cell and space.
Reason to that.
And then they came back anything else there, they would never do that. Right.
Yeah, it was
But-
68 today,
right.
now it's 48 ago.
yeah,
But right, yeah, if you can,
I think we need to just spell it out.
that way there's not a junk trailer. For
Spare
somebody else
tires
or
dirty
somebody
bags.
else in the future. You know. Really. Yeah. Just thought it would come forward. Something. but-
So this was a racetrack.
No, they did a car show
Car
and
show.
they had drifters up there. They had guys
Oh,
with
is that-
drift cars.
Oh, okay.
And then they drifted all down Main Street afterwards.
No kidding.
No.
Fucking awesome.
It explains the black
That-
box. I'm just trying to figure out what kind.
What is that?
track
Yeah,
that
so
would
those,
be.
those are tire marks.
Drifters.
Yeah, they were drifters.
Got it.
Okay.
They had food trucks lined up there. They had a great time,
I'll bet.
but it lasted all weekend.
And then
And
spilled.
we had the fire truck staged up there and the entire police department. It was a fun weekend.
Well, I've never,
No, me either. When did that happen?
In the past 7 years.
I'll be done.
I
Like
think
before COVID.
the description would be as simple as nothing forward of the, I assume this is south.
Yeah, but I was trying to cut it back at
Oh, back into that.
that point, so
Yeah.
it doesn't, I mean, that's the roadway, we're not talking about it,
Yeah.
but I don't wanna see it visible.
Yeah, right.
It is my.
I took a road right over there too, and same thing, I mean, I
Right.
drove through the fence. You know, saw the trucks way back.
Right.
And thought, well, it's not too bad, I guess.
And I'm familiar with the property, because I've been up there with the other stuff,
Yeah,
and I just wanted, you couldn't really tell how many were back there, and I was not ambitious enough.
oh, no, I don't think you could stand there and count them.
No.
But I am a little bit surprised at the number of trucks, but if it fits, okay.
Like, over surveying, plan description.
We did everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50-year career.
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes.
That's what's been talked about. Well, I'll ask you a question mark about the fire station.
Okay,
Right?
absolutely.
Do the volunteers have the same training as the, is it better or worse?
It's not even close.
Try and get. them
Not even
out.
close.
Not even close.
But doesn't it make sense for everybody to have the same training?
That's not impossible, almost, yeah. If, as more and more comes out, it's gonna be eye-opening. Because they can.
Yeah.
But they don't have the time to dedicate to it.
Right, that's what I mean by it's not.
Right, the volunteers don't have
Right,
time.
right, that I can
It's
understand.
not a knock on them,
Right,
it's just, you have another job. Right, you have a full-time job.
Are we still recording?
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, maybe we should. Just a thought, okay.
yeah, I mean, just, I mean, all right, so. Knowing nothing about any of this stuff, even though it's
It's a good question for after skating, because it's not,
yeah.
it's not zoning related, but you can have that discussion after.
We'll talk outside.
We'll talk outside.
And I'll give you a good, you can legally do that, because it's not part of this.
Right.
Never mind.
I would love to educate people on that.
Yeah, that's the problem. Sure.
Pick up. Yeah.
Delineated on the maps. You know, we'll use this and then we'll put a.
Yeah, for the verbal.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Parkland trails from the line south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a comma sign.
Right. Yeah, and then we'll see map.
Yeah, okay.
You know, look for our, you know. And then I would also want to delineate where we're gonna put screening. You know,
Oh, sure.
you know, spell out that we're gonna hash that map up with 6 to 8 foot arborvitae's to be planted 6 feet apart.
Or similar to that,
Or
right? Something.
Right, so yes, something for a privacy edge. But as this gets corrected, we have to be real specific on hardship.
So, well, so far, I mean, you know, it sounds economical, but it's not really. It's an operational situation. Without this variance, the operation is in jeopardy continuing.
That's,
Is that economical?
that's an operational and different facility.
That's economic.
So that's economic, I can't do that. It has to be limited to this property.
It would,
I apologize, I didn't have a full map.
Reasonable use in the home. So it's not the term.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is that.
harmonious with the neighborhood.
It's
That's the survey?
limit.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do
Is it
is.
stamped? Because somebody else knows if it's stamped or not.
This is not, this
Okay.
map, wherever it came from, it's not stamped and signed or certified. It's something that CLA created. Just for information, while you guys are discussing this, I'm pulling up this is the as-built plan.
Okay.
So
I muted him because he was asking questions. Then we went on a sidetrack on the record. Too, so.
Even more effective.
So this back portion of the property, there's some drainage in here. So if your discussion is to plant arborvitae's or something, you've got grading and drainage structures in here that may create challenges. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Doesn't mean it can't be done, though, right?
Not with the drain, you couldn't plant something where the drainage structures are, because that's part of the requirement for that. Presumably, the engineering of that lot.
Okay.
And the wetlands, right.
All right.
Yeah, just because this was the as-built. So there's a big drainage structure right here. But this is, you know, on the, I guess, the south side of this property. And this is the property line way down here. So there's already a significant buffer on this side
Right.
where the wetlands are. But I wanted to just point out this property line up here. There is some grading and drainage that will make it difficult for planting.
And that was probably put in when the patient was. put
That was part of the engineering for the design of the transportation center.
That's right behind my house. It's all woodlands right there. There's
Yeah, thank you.
Just, I'm not gonna draw the line.
No.
But I'm just gonna, for everybody, I'm thinking something like, well, almost through the center and pick
Yeah,
up.
Mark, I'll have them come up well.
Okay. You know, I'm thinking something like that, because that would still be visible and maintain that as the roadway. You know, pick up the backside of this lot. You guys are, if the board wants to go this way or something, but.
Make a suggestion.
No.
Well, see what I'm looking at is like this. And this will be prohibited. Of course, this would still be a travel way. If you can't get a trailer in that space, or, trailer. There will be no trackers. So that's what I had written as the line south of the island. Pretty much, you know, it would just exclude this space right here.
Yeah, in that space.
From there north.
Right.
Just to be clear, that center island section that you're referring to, that's actually a drainage basin too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just using that as a
Yeah.
reference point. So that it's not visible.
Want me to mark that?
It's your motion.
Okay.
Was that so?
Yeah.
A red pen?
Yeah.
You wanna use a red pen?
Got one. A red pen, so it's easier to see.
Yeah, okay. I can do that. Okay. So we looking this point or this point?
I would like the further back one
Yeah.
personally.
This one here. Yeah.
Rich, are they going to make a clear verbal motion to
Yes.
somehow
Yes.
describe that? Or, I was
Yes.
gonna say, or can you scan a copy and I can make that an
I'll
answer?
scan this to make sure everybody has.
He's got something written already
Okay,
that he's gonna read and then delineate this line
okay.
that'll reference it.
This,
What are you doing there? Out of curiosity.
this is prohibited area.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're
Prohibited
gonna
parking.
put hash lines
Oh,
across
yeah.
the whole thing?
All right, good. You just want to leave it the line?
We could just say no trailers south of that red line that we delineated.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That works. And then. That's fine. 450 instead of 500, take it. Sit down. I wanna put a line up here. Right.
And I'll scan this and make sure everybody gets a copy. If you want to email me, I can make sure I email copies.
Not a problem. They're gonna post it anyway.
Yeah. Posting stuff after the fact
Right.
is a little bit lax because I gotta get the legal notice done and everything else.
You read mark up where we're gonna put some
We did.
shrubbery.
Yeah.
I have
That
that
was-
one.
it'd be back here, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where you got it from. I'll have
Yeah.
to look and see it.
And we'll put
Because
in the motion where.
What I did,
Where,
the way I do it,
where possible.
we have one link.
Okay.
Where possible. Where possible.
We have a document center. I replaced the document, so that old document should not even be there.
Go to the Norwich website.
And then the other thing I wanna do is I wanna, put some hour stipulations on this one.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a good idea.
I like that, you know, 7 to 7. Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Monday through Saturday. Monday through Saturday. Right.
Yeah.
But I think it should be limited to days and this doesn't turn into an overnight thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That way the next, operator can use it a little differently.
Right.
So is this the regulations that you found?
I didn't have the title page.
So this is the formatting of the pages, and I think what I saw that you had was formatted differently. Was the old, it's got the color tabs on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I
and
was gonna
this,
say there's a.
I don't know, I'll have to look and see if there's a legacy version someplace hidden in the website somewhere, because,
We're not gonna release it.
Not a big
So
deal.
this,
yeah, and who knows, that version could be
just wanted to throw that out.
5 revisions ago. So I'll look, thank you.
That is inconceivable.
You know, it's probable.
Yeah, that you emergency would override that. Right. Okay, all right.
So for everybody online, the reason it's quiet is they're currently drawing some lines on a map to go along with their motion.
And we're looking for screening back here. Location.
Yes.
And what about just here, right?
No, it was,
Just
the screening issue was, if you were to look at like that and over in there.
Right,
Okay, so we're down here.
yes.
Here.
No.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna screenshot this and I'm gonna send it to Paul once you're done.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So
you can see
as
it.
as opposed to him trying to look at a map and make sense of it. Right.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Reasonable.
Yeah, well,
Then everybody can see it.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Quickly.
I know, right?
I never thought this would be.
Oh, I thought I was home by 8.
I thought so.
I wasn't thinking it was going to be, but I was hoping.
No, I almost brought my wife. Should we be out of there unless you're Mark, some of the bunch didn't, I'm not going.
So we got 2 areas of screening and we had prohibitive parking. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you. Is this in agreement with everybody?
Yes.
Well, put that up. Good, Dave? Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I'm good with that. I'm gonna screenshot it and then we'll put it in front of the camera as well. Then Paul will have it. Okay, we'll hold that in front of the camera. Where's the camera at? Thank you. Can I help you, Rich? Or you good with it?
I think I'm good. And what I'm gonna do is, you're okay with, this was the map you provided me.
Yeah.
There's no signatures, there's no certifications on it. It's a map from 1994 is what the date is. So what I'm gonna do to enter it into the record, I'm gonna rescan this in and I'm gonna block out the surveyor information because I don't want the surveyor
Right.
being upset, and I don't want, but I want to be clear on the record that this was the map you provided me. It has no signatures. I believe it probably is accurate, but there's no certifications.
It's adequate for our markup you said.
Works, it will become their sketch.
Did you get that, Paul?
Yes, looking at it right now.
So this is. I don't know, people, Paul, can you see that on your camera?
I can now, yes. I got it right on my phone too. I'm operating my iPad and my phone.
There you go.
I got it on my phone, Rich. I could see it fine, just like that.
I just wanted the people in the audience to be able to see it too.
Oh, okay, very good.
Okay. So
Yeah. This is the last part I was talking about. Yeah. Well, it won't be as exciting as tomorrow night. Catherine, you're gonna be there for tomorrow, right, Catherine?
I get to sleep tonight, I will be.
Okay. Public safety. I don't think they brought that up. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Might not have to listen to the one then.
So just so everybody online knows, Phoenix is currently working on writing out the motion to make sure that it's cohesive.
And describes the map that we just.
Right.
Yeah, because if you don't write it out, and you try to do it off your head, it just
Word salad.
word salad. That's
Yeah. I'm just gonna call that a map, is that right? Because it's not a survey.
refer to it as sketch.
Yeah, sketch
Okay.
exhibit
Label it
19 or
sketch.
20 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's gonna become an exhibit. Yeah. Is that the right number?
Yeah, it should be, because 18 was the one
It's
for
good,
whatever.
it's gonna be 20.
Oh, it is?
Oh,
Because the zoning.
Mandel stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, mechanical, that's okay.
Don't use them.
20. Okay.
The Google Map aerial shot conveys
Tim, please don't interrupt the meeting. The public hearing is closed.
Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. Seven. Five, seven.
5 to 7 days. I wrote day or I was just taking notes
Oh,
as
okay,
they were
okay.
speaking. Those were my notes as he was talking. That wasn't Alfred. I was just kind of writing down what he had said. 5 to 7 days a week.
Take a couple of months.
A lot of time. I don't know. Doodling. Just put it into the record. Right.
Two areas of prohibited or allowed parking, prohibited parking. All right. My motion, and I'm going to amend it, is that correct? Yeah, all right. Okay, Mr. Chairman, if it please the board, I would like to amend my previous motion for approval to approve this application with conditions, with a hardship being that the denial of this application would limit and deny the reasonable and best use of the property as it is currently conditioned, currently developed, and the condition that it is in. And the conditions that I would like to make attached to this approval would be the applicant will provide screening at the locations indicated, vegetative screening at the locations indicated on the marked up sketch, marked exhibit 20. The hours of operations, or I beg your pardon, the period of operations shall be limited to Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And there be no more than 500 units sited on this lot. Also, the areas of prohibited parking will be shown on sketch marked exhibit 20. Those are the conditions, and that is my motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any additional comments, Bob?
No, I just believe that we just spent a lot of time and a lot of hard work on something that should have been relatively simple.
Ed, anything you'd like to?
Should we identify units as tractor trailers?
I put 500 units
You call them units, no more than 500 units, you said.
parked on this.
We change it to trailers.
So if you go by what the variance is for.
Box trailers.
Box trailers. So I don't.
All right, no,
Just
we want
opinion,
to.
I don't think you need to.
Yeah,
incorporate it. I don't think, because it's already in the variance.
Okay.
Oh, so
It's already in the
units
variance,
would be
okay.
understood as part.
All right.
Okay.
Got it, thank you. Ed,
Yeah, that was it.
Paul, anything you'd like to comment on before we call for a vote?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Dave? No, I've already said mine. Just a couple comments that I want to say on the record. Difficult site. I do think that, this is reasonable to do it, to develop. I think, I don't find it unreasonable to park trailers there versus transportation buses or cars or whatever else. I do think it's a reasonable use of it. I did come into this meeting mixed. I do not like to see our board be in opposition to another board where they weighed in on this. They did not feel it weighed in on the comprehensive plan for the city of Norwich. As I stated before, I did speak to the chair of that board. We went over some general concerns, but given the testimony tonight, I feel comfortable that we're making the right decision. Another point that came up tonight is the applicant is not the owner. And although this hasn't been developed in 10 or 20 years for anything but a parking lot, nothing says that if there was a better proposal for this, that we did not take away their right. That if all of a sudden Mashantucket Pequot wants to terminate this lease and turn it into something that's permitted within the zone, that could be done. This is a permit, this is a variance to add to that right. So we're not taking that right away from them to develop this if something better came up. And at this point, I think it's the right thing for us moving forward in all. So I will be voting in favor of this deal. Anybody else before I call for the vote? No, okay. All those in favor to grant with the amended conditions?
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Dave Martin, aye. Paul Butcher,
Aye.
Mark Benjamin, aye. Unanimous. Motion carries unanimously with conditions. There is a 15-day appeal period.
Nope, it should be everything you set out.
And Rachel talk with the applicant.
It's not, it doesn't.
And
Thank you.
the other, we didn't go back and touch on it. How this interrupts with the other variants that the lawyers in the courts can figure out.
I agree.
So there's a 15-day appeal period from the time it's published in the newspaper. So I have
And
to,
you take care of all the public notice on that end.
the public note, the publish in the newspaper, yes, I send the notice to the day. And then I have to create the document that needs to be filed in the clerk's office. And I will send that to you via mail. And then once you get that, you can record it. I'll try to get it done before the end of this week to try to get the public notice in for Friday for the publication. Because the faster I get it in, I think statutorily I have to have it in within 15 days, but I've got to get.
Please,
Let's
because
give
the
that-
expiration of the temporary is March 31st.
Yeah, and the temporary, I'm not coming to, lock the gate on you and keep you out.
Thanks very much for your indulgence.
Staff updates?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, I don't
Have a
have
good evening.
anything specific. So we adopted the new regulations that were effective. February 15th. There's new zoning map. As I briefly talked in that meeting, I had minimal input in the regulations. I can comfortably say that. But there's a new zoning map. What we did in the zoning map was we reintroduced the R10 and the R15 zones. We tried to look at what we had. So I ran a report for Dan and Deanna based on our variances and what those variances were for and what zones and locations they were. Dan put them into the map and he said, here's where our concentrations are. And it was obvious it's all of these small lots that went to excessive dimensional standards. So we reintroduced the R10 and the R15, but what I can do here.
So the new maps in there that show where they are.
So the new map is here on the Planning and Neighborhood Services webpage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this for the public so that they can see it as well.
Okay.
Is what we're talking here. I'm gonna get back to my share. So you can see on the map here where it says GFZ, those are all, they're government, some form of municipal property, whether it's a park,
okay.
whether it's town hall.
I wondered about that. I thought Jeff got an awful lot of military here.
So, this lime green, that's all now R15. R10, let's see, that's 20, where's the R10? 40, 20, R10 up in here and in here. So the goal was to try to reduce the number of variances that were coming to you guys for,
Right.
residential homes, people wanting to put a deck on or something.
Right.
Like that.
And I'm as much concerned about the people who don't even go for the variance to just say it's too much work and then don't improve the house.
Right.
I mean, orient myself.
Or maybe that doesn't happen, I don't.
Where's where's NFA?
You're gonna ask me.
It's over,
That R10 you just showed, I think that was all Greenville.
that's
Yeah,
over
so-
Greenville.
So we come up,
Is up in R40 up that area.
so NFA is gonna be right in this area here. Yep.
Thank
It's a combination of this R40, it's this general area.
All right.
And this map is really difficult
Well, unless you drill down, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's still difficult because of the shades and the colors and
Oh,
everything else.
that's 169 right there, that's Harlem Road. Yeah, going up, okay.
So the GIS map has not been, the online hasn't been updated to the new map.
Oh,
So if somebody
okay.
looks at it,
Yeah,
and I can't wait for it because trying to find locations when I'm approving stuff, trying to. And the other thing we did was we asked the assessor on his records to remove the zoning designation out of his records so it doesn't confuse people.
well, they were confusing anyway. I mean, they have zoning designations that don't match the zoning map.
And exactly, and I brought that up. And I've been here 9 years and it never got fixed.
No.
So the other thing was, when Dan Deniska redid this entire map, when he did it, we went through and all of the properties that had these weird split zones, the zone lines are now the property lines.
Okay.
no, you changed property lines. You could just do that with the fire zones.
So that became the new map. So we tried to do that because it brought up conflicts because somebody could have a piece of property with frontage, I don't know, Plain Hill Road, for instance. And it could be a large piece and there may be a back portion of it, maybe it's 20 acres and the back 5 acres is commercial. Then what they would say is, well, I got commercial, I want to build a commercial building or put a business back there. But the regulations prohibit going through a residential district to access a commercial
Okay,
in that situation.
interesting. Okay.
So you couldn't develop a lot that was split that way because you couldn't put your driveway in
Yeah.
for the commercial business off the residential road. So those were some of the housekeeping things we tried to do.
Good.
There's, you'll see when you go through, we talk about definitions. It's very heavily weighted on definitions. Probably 6 to 9 months out after we've lived in these regulations, we're gonna be going back and making some changes. But we also have to make changes because of the new housing bills by the state. They, you know, in the last November in special section 8,000, I think it was 8,002, HB 8,002, I believe it was very substantial. Had to do with parking requirements. Municipalities by statute can no longer require parking for a multifamily development of less than 16 units.
Really?
Which there's no sound planning practice. I actually today submitted testimony to the state for the hearing tomorrow. And my testimony wasn't directly on the two bills that are before them. It was tied to it because that's how I submitted it. But it was covering all the recent legislation. And part of it was that these bills are not being made with sound planning practices, and they're not looking at the unintended consequences and the financial burdens that they're putting on the municipality. And I put it in personally as myself, as a former first selectman, planning and zoning commission member, board of finance member, you know, so I put my resume into it, that I've seen it well-rounded from all sides. And that, you know, but it affects, you know, like parking, you know, anybody can sit and a developer who's looking at just creating units. And I understand when you have certain neighborhoods or certain areas that have transportation, people don't own cars. But that's not the normal in most Connecticut communities. You know, so if somebody just wants to have rental units and expects people not to have cars, then it puts a burden on the city when they do have cars. They're parking in the streets. What do we do during snowstorms? Right. So now the city is going to have to kind of go police that or figure out a way to handle that.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's something we've discussed is.
Being an EB employee, I fully appreciate parking issues. Because if you want to see a parking nightmare, just go to EB.
I just kind of gotta go. If not, can you just let me know who makes a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna say thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody who was here.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So-
Meeting adjourned 9:16.